When your drawing or model gets messy with a lot of different components, legends come to the rescue. These handy tools let you add detailed information for all the stuff in your model. In this video, we are going to learn how to use component legends to keep everything organized and easy to understand. To start using legends, first you need to create a legend view. For this, you need to go to the View tab, and then in Create panel, you need to click on this legend and create a new legend. Give it a name if you want, and also change the scale. We can change the scale and the name later too. Now we have an empty view that we can add anything we want. To add legends, we need to go to Annotate tab and Detail panel. Open the components, and in this part you can see the legend component. Now in here, in option bar, you can open this drop down menu, and here you will see all of the components that you have in the Revit file. Not in your model, but everything, every component, every family that you have inside the Revit. Based on what type of legends you're going to create, you need to select one of these categories. Let's, for example, select one of these floors, maybe this one. And then in this part, you can select between different views. But since we are going to create the legend for a floor, the only option we have in here is the section. Usually we have the front elevation, back elevation, right elevation, left elevation maybe, and also the plan view. But since this is a floor plan, we only have the section. And in this part, you can set the size of the sample that you're going to create. Now I'm going to click on this part, and then I'm going to change the detail level to fine, and also change the visual style to consistent color so we can see everything inside this sample. If you want to make it bigger or smaller, you can change it from this part. I'm going to set it on 1 meter so we can add more details if we want. And also I'm going to change the scale to 1 to 25 so we have thinner lines. Also, if you don't want to see different thickness for all of the lines in here, you can turn this thin line off, so all of the lines in here will be the same thickness. First thing that we need to add for each component is the name of that component, is the title, is the type of that family. So to find that, you need to just hover your mouse over one of the edges. In here you can see the name and maybe some details about that component. And also if you select that component, in this part, in the component type, you can see the name. So it is a concrete commercial with this thickness. So we are going to add the name. It is really weird that we can't add tags for the components in the legends view, because we should be able to do that normally, right? So the other option that we have in here is the text. For this, you just need to click on this part and then create a rectangle in here. Then whether it is a code or it is a full name, just type it in this part. I'm going to just type concrete 362. I'm not sure if this was the right number. Let me check. Okay, it's correct. Now you can select it, you can go to edit type. In this part you can change the font, you can change the site, also you can change the color. If you want, you can add borders like this in here. I don't want this, I'm going to just make it a little bit smaller, maybe 1.5, and also I want it to be underlined like this. Okay. The next thing that I want to add in here is the material type. So I'm going to click on this material tag, and then I'm going to just click on the material like this, and then I'm going to put it in here. Then I'm going to repeat it for the other material, this one, and also the last one, which is apparently a question mark. To fix this question mark, we need to find the material of this layer. So I'm going to go to the architecture in another view because we can't have them in the legend view. Go to one of your floor views and then go to the floor architecture, and then we are going to search for the floor type that we used in the legend, which is this one. I'm going to go to the edit type and the edit section. And now if you open the preview, you can see the last layer. This red layer is the hardcore, it's this one. So I'm going to go to its material section, and in here we need to go to the identity tab. In this part, I'm going to just write the name that I want to see in the legend. For example, let's go with this site hardcore, the same name in the description. So since the material tag is based on the description for the materials, we need to enter the name that we want to see there in this part too. If you set it on the keyword, or for example this URL or the keynote, you need to change these parts. If you have nothing, if you have no text or value in these parts, you will not be able to see those in here. To show you how it works, I'm going to add a value for the model. Let's go with hardcore. Also for the mark section, I'm going to write just simply site. Now in the legend section, we should be able to see this description. Okay, and okay. Perfect. This is exactly what we entered in the description section of this material. So now if you select the tag and go to edit family, in here, if you click on this label and go to edit label, you can see this description in this part. In this part, you can see all of the parameters that we have for each model. So instead of description, you can select between the mark, model, or simply select the name so you can just see it whenever you create the material tag. I'm going to insert this mark instead of this description because we changed its name to site, so you can see the differences in here. And then I'm going to load it into the legend, and now we have only site in this part. These are empty. You can see the questions marks in here because in front of the mark section for each one of these materials, there is no text and no value. Another thing that you can do inside of the material tag is to just simply combine different parameters. So for example, you can combine the name and the mark. You can combine the name and the cost if you want. You can combine the mark or model with a little description or comments. Now I'm going to just switch this with simply the name, and then I'm going to load it again to the legends. The size of them is a little too much, so you need to go back, select the label and go to edit type, and in here I'm going to put it on 2. Also, you can change the font and the color and all of these options if you want. And now I'm going to just load it again. I also think these dots are a little too much for this legend, so I'm going to select the tag and go to edit type. In here you can change the later arrowhead to anything you want. I think maybe an arrow would be great in here, so I'm going to switch to this one, and yes, this is much better. Next pro tip that I want to share is about the dimensions. So if you want to show the thickness of all of these layers, you are going to use this dimension, but unfortunately there is no edge that we can click on and show the dimensions or add the measurement. So to fix that, we are going to use detail lines, and I'm going to create very small lines in these parts, not in the edge, not outside this component, but exactly in here on the edges. And then I'm going to copy it from this part to here, and also to this part, and then to here. I'm going to move this one down and also make sure that all of them are exactly on the lines. Perfect. And also this one. Now I can use these lines for adding the dimensions. First, zoom in, click on one of them, and then the other one in this part, and here, and the last one is in this part, and then drag them outside like this. To have a better dimension, I'm going to select it, and then in edit type first we need to duplicate it. Let's go with 0.5, and then in this part you can change the size of the font. I'm going to change this one to 0.5, and also if you want you can change the font in this part too. Then for changing the units, we need to go to the primary unit section, and in this part I'm going to uncheck this. Then we need to change the unit from meters to centimeter or millimeter, and in this part I'm going to put it on 0 decimal places. And also since we don't have that much space, I'm going to put the symbol on none and okay. However, we have the thickness in here. I'm going to add a dimension to see the overall thickness in this part too. Perfect. Exactly like this, you can add the rest of the floors and maybe create tables for them and present them with well-organized legends. If you want to learn more about the floors, make sure to watch this video. And if this tutorial was helpful for you, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.